But meanwhile, that wasn't the Miley that was in the body that I was hanging out with. It was the way younger Miley. But then it's like, oh, well, bring Miley out for ice cream. It's like, oh, okay. So I'm thinking I'm hanging out with freaking mentally retarded Miley. I'm like, okay, mentally retarded Miley is still my age. Sorry, Miley. It's just funny. But it's like, oh, no. No. Don't bring her out to this town or this place that's quiet and, it's... No. Go out here to this place, which bad things just keep magically fucking happening over and over and over again. It's like, wow, man. Oh, don't let nothing bad happen. Oh, okay. But do what do something she wants to do. Okay. But don't do anything I wouldn't do. Oh, well, now, right? So basically, at that point, I'm thinking I should have just fucking... Just what? Just back the car up a little and then ran you over first, right? Because that would pretty much be the equivalency of what the fuck you did to me my entire life. To the guy who was following me the other day. Trying to set me up the whole fucking time, right? I'm thinking, oh, by the whole time you have my back, right? You have my back. Wow. Make sure you bring her home. Miley. Wow. Wow. And all the phone calls that my father got growing up. Oh, was Anthony over here? Because this place is fucking, this is burning down, and these two people got into a car accident, and somebody's fucking dead, and there's more fucking people dead, and there's, it's like Anthony's been right fucking here the whole fucking time, hasn't left the fucking house. But nothing was ever said to me. I just had to remember all the fucking phone calls that I wasn't even a part of the conversation being left out. Why I was being left out. Fuck yous. Almost a part of a snuff film. Which then the people that were fucking caught about to make the snuff film turned around and tried to say that they were trying to set up the fucking cops that were trying to set up the people trying to make the fucking snuff film. And I bet I could still fucking nail close enough the fucking car. You know how insane that is? You know how little I was? You know how dark it was outside? And I bet you I could find the neighborhood. And that is due to, I'm thinking, the second Camaro I bought. That magically looked like the first Camaro, minus the fact it wasn't the fucking first Camaro. With the white stripes. No. This one had black stripes. This one was like an 88 or a 91. My car was a 92. Well, actually, both of them were. But because I wanted to see my V8, compared to the V6 I bought, not for the engine parts, but for the body parts to fix up my other car, if something else happened. And the one time that I drove that second Camaro, that looked a whole lot like my first Camaro, I pulled the plates off of my other, I think, what the hell was it? The Ford Taurus. I threw them onto the second Camaro because it drove. The other one had a cracked engine block at that point. And where did the one time that I drove that car was to the place where I seen Sean Allen. The last time that I seen Sean Allen. But 20 years ago, interestingly enough, there was somebody that could switch and do exactly what other people can do. And one of the shapes that they took was of Sean Allen. And that's where it gets interesting too. Because when Sean was yelling at me that day, when I was tired of the bullshit, and I was like, are you listening to me? And he still proceeded to fucking talk. And he wasn't angry at me. He wasn't yelling at me. He was telling me good things that were happening in his life. And I said, listen to what I'm saying. My house was shot at. And I'm like, that's not bad enough that I couldn't get you on the phone to just tell you that. Just to say that. But I was also trying to get you on the phone to tell you that the house that I just came to visit you in was the same house I was brought to the night that when I drove that second Camaro back. And this is years prior. And all the little interestingly weird shit that took place there. But the one thing that didn't take place while I was there was my cousin being raped. But on the way back from that drive, I met somebody who looked like Frank Gallo. But he had more of a freaking, a different type of personality than the Frank Gallo, which in the same house, tried to set me up with the tape recorder, with the swimming pool, with the man who looked like Sean Allen, telling me he's gonna drown me in the swimming pool. And the man who looked like the one that I would think of as my father, coming there and waving the tape recorder in my face. We got you now, you little bastard. I'm like, oh yeah? I'm like, you got me now, huh? I'm like, play the fucking tape. And then I think about how Charlie's popping up. And I think about how interesting it is that, you know, the man that was just following me the other day, a couple weeks ago actually, about 3 weeks after I seen Charlie, looks almost, but then there's a height thing. But then, hey, could have been socks in this guy's boots. Because he seemed like he was taller than me. Which would have probably taken more than just socks. So that's why I'm thinking that wasn't exactly Sean Allen. But there was also the guy that was in the van who looked like Sean Allen. The day they were trying to set me up with my 2-year-old daughter that I never met before. So there's all this stuff that's going through my head. But then it's like just to get back to the whole Millie Bobby thing. All those years ago. And the people that were involved with trying to teach me supposedly something. And I think about how that kid in the tunnel, what an interesting piece of work that kid was. And I remember what the man who said he was the wizard was trying to show as a lesson. because the kid had something to do in somewhat way of why another child passed away. The stuff that's happening in the world right now is what's really important. So, with that said, and to think how interestingly, like, wow. And don't even get me started with that whole side behind fucking Stop and Shop. Don't even get me fucking started. Because everybody was fucking warned. Everybody was fucking warned. Stop fucking with his head. And yet, only when things kind of went bad did everybody point the fingers directly at me. That's why it's interesting. That's why it's like, you know what, it's like, and all the people, oh, well, I could do what he could do. I could do what he could do. I could do. That's what they should be named. I can do what he can do. Wow, man. Yeah, the things that are happening right now. That's what's important, right? Oh, man. Wow. That's why I said it's like, it's interesting that, it's like, with certain things, my friend Will pops into my head. And then, it's like, quickly, it's like, this is this too. And I say to myself, it's like, wow. It's like, wow. Having to go through how many of them there were. And how many different ones I encountered. And how many other people that didn't even look like them made themselves look like them. And all of this and all of that. And I'm saying, wow, man. And knowing the few places where my contracts were supposed to be being held for me. Just in case. It's like, wow. Looked like Will. Me and Will haven't talked in almost 28 years. 20, not 28 years, but close to it. 27 years. 27, 28 years. And then I see what the fuck everybody pulls. Between the CIA, between the FBI, between the DOJ, between the military. Military doesn't want to play no games, right? And then it comes down to this. It comes down to all the people that, like, they heard, oh, Yaki walked into the Pentagon with a lit blunt. Blunt was about this big. Blunt was about that big. Okay? Didn't even know I walked into the Pentagon. But actually, I was being walked into the Pentagon with an escort. Interesting. Oh, the guys came out. They definitely were ready to pull guns. Trust me. So because I did that, and then to think 2 to 3 years later, somebody 2.5 or so years later, some black kid decided that he was gonna walk into the Pentagon with a lit blunt. And from what I heard, he got put right on his fucking belly with fucking assault rifles. Put right to his fucking head. Congratulations. They liked you better than me. Anytime I tried to freaking prove my point, being blocked, being blocked, being blocked, being blocked. That's bullshit. No, not just by black people, not just by Indian people, no, by white people too. It was the entire fucking planet versus one guy with no money and a fucking bummy ass leg. Wow. 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 With nobody able to tell him shit, even though they fucking wanted to. And some of them did. Some of them did risk enough to even tell me a sentence of what the fuck was going on. And then to think that people were fucking jealous of that, and jealous of this, and jealous, and jealous, and jealous, and jealous, and jealous. Wow. Wow. Fucking wow. But the whole point of this video is the whole confusingness of the entirety of the situation. With the mixing of names like Xavier and this and that. It's like, I'm saying to myself, wow, man. Wow. Wow. I even remember being shown the takedown of a few different people and the slightly off people that were coming into their position. Everybody thinks they know how the other side works. Wow. Heaven and hell. The questions that were in some of their heads. And yet the answers that were coming from me at the time were so correct on so many levels. But then to get people to like me, once the other kids found out, they'd make sure that they would make sure that they embed the wrong shit into my head, right? So, because I wouldn't be able to play with anybody, right? So then I'd just be by my goddamn self like I've been my entire fucking life. Yo. Wow. 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 The reason why I haven't changed my opinion on a certain thing is because, from what I was told directly, was that a certain kid is mine, and they were going to use that kid to kill to have him have sex with other fucking people, whether he was sticking his dick in or just they were taking his sperm so that they could kill me, over and over and over and over again. Wow. That's why I say, because I know that the other blame would turn on to the other girl who was heavier and taller. Because she knew some tricks too. And she could make herself do the same thing that the other girl that I'm speaking of could do. And had already tried. Both of them. At that point in time, both of them were there the very first time that I was set up. When I was yay big at a birthday party. It wasn't just the one, but it was the other one. And I'm not exactly certain of the other one's name. But the other one knows the other one's name. Bigger girl. Taller. Older. The log that's out here is where it gets interesting as far as the person that I considered to be a part of the Esposito family, yet alone it was the Martinez family, which also may or may not be somehow, some way fucking related to me somehow. And that's where it gets interesting as the part of when the log was moved by me. Not in the heroic way that everybody wanted to see me move the log. But in a way where it's like, okay, is this real? Sure, it's real. Okay, let's do it. And the only person who suffered after that was Dove. Should have been awake. You should have been ready. And yet, when other people found out this or found out that, I was told, if you move this log again, I'll kill you. And that was Wallace. And then I was told, if I move that log again, I'll kill you myself. Or will kill you. That was Wallace. And if you move this log again, I'll kill you myself. And that was my uncle, who set up the bank account. Whole lot of shit went down. Whole lot of shit. Whole lot of shit's been going down. Wow. And yet so many other people seen these videos, even though I'm making them right now. So interesting, huh?